Good morning, everybody. Just out riding. I was working a little bit this morning. It's a dreary day here in San Antonio. I'm actually not in the best of moods. I mean, just being realistic. But it doesn't have anything to do with what I'm gonna discuss. I'm popping on because of course, you know, anytime I'm in deep thought. This is another one of as I've dubbed it, and Spin told me she liked it. Shout out to you, Spin. But I'm another one of Corey's Car Chronicles. But I was riding in the car and I was just thinking about things, and what sparked this thought process was a conversation that was, it's not a conversation, it's about a topic that we're all familiar with. It's a post. It was a couple posts going around. There was a conversation between Talib Kweli and Michael Rappaport about black people's usage of the N-word. And Michael Rappaport was saying that, you know, Michael Rappaport is, first of all, Michael Rappaport is one of my favorite people. So, you know, I love listening to things that he says. But anyway, it was just a discussion about the usage of the N-word by the black community. Then there was a post on Instagram where the post was, I know what they were trying to say, but it wasn't sensible. Just like I don't think the thought process is sensible at all that if black people stop using the N-word, then we're gonna be better as a people. Now, I'm a person, I admit, I'm in the 90s culture. I was born in the 80s and came up in the 90s where it was prominent usage of the word. I'm from the inner city of Chicago, and I adopted the word. You know, it's a part of, you're living somewhere. It's like any kids in anywhere. You adopt the jargon that the people, your peers use. And I've used it. I haven't used it in excess, but I've used it to this day. I might say it every now and then, but it is a word that I'm trying to eliminate from my vocabulary. I'm not trying to eliminate it from my vocabulary, though, due to the same reasons that people live. I don't believe I'm setting black people back when I use the word. I don't believe that it's any form of hatred that I show when I use the word. And I do believe that nobody else, if anybody does use the word, it should be nobody else but black people using the word. That's me. I'm old school like that. I had a Lyft. I'll give an example. I had a Lyft down here in San Antonio, Texas, where I was taking two young ladies. They were Hispanic, two young ladies. And they were having a conversation, and one of them just kept saying N-word this, and this N-word, and this N-word, this N-word, this N-word. And they weren't saying it like, you know, the racist way. They were saying it like the hip-hop, because it comes from, I think, just the black culture, and the hip-hop culture made it more prominent. So they were saying it like that because these young people these days, that's how these other ethnicities doing. However, she did it about 4 or 5 times. I was trying to wait to see if maybe, you know, because I understand if you're doing it if you're doing it with your people and around folk who comfortable, that's on you. If you can sit around people that don't care and you say it, that's on you. You know, you just got to be careful doing around black folk you don't know, because you will get checked. And some people will check you in different ways. I said, after she said about 4 or 5 times, I said, excuse me. I said, don't use that word, please, while you're in the car with me. I said, because that's not something that I condone. And then she kind of got a little offended that I even said that, which, because at first when I said it, I was nice. I was like, that's what I said. I said, I don't mean no harm. I said, but when you're in this car with me, please don't use that word. I said, I don't mean no offense and no harm, but that's just me. The fact that I have to say I don't mean no offense and no harm already upsets me, but I only did it just because. I just did it because. It wasn't because I really cared if she would have got offended. I really didn't. But she got a little offended. And she was just like, well, I mean, I don't need it. I don't mean it that way, blah, 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 blah. I said, ma'am, I don't care. I said, I'm not from around here. I don't know if that's the thing down here that people are allowed to say that around black folk. I said, but I'm from the inner city of Chicago, and I'm from the 90s era. That wasn't condoned a lot when I was coming up. And I said, it's just not something I'm comfortable with. So she still kept trying to battle at me, talk to me, and her friend was just like, girl, shut up. Like, it's offensive to some people. You're not supposed to do that. And eventually she shut up. But I'm actually eliminating the word for the same reason why I look at people around my age. I'm in my very late 30s, and I look at people in my age. I just believe when you become a certain age, and I think it should be done well before you become this age, but there should be a way where you're trying to enhance your vocabulary in general, you know, enhance your thought processes, enhance how you communicate, you know. I question a lot of older people who cuss heavily, you know, use cuss words a lot. I question that personally. And I look at using the N-word at this age the same way. It's like, hey, how old am I? Why am I? You know, after a while you start trying to become better as a person. That's why. The reason why I was making this video, I'm sorry, that was 5 minutes, 6 minutes in, and I was giving that. But I just wanted to give some context. So the reason why I'm bringing that up is because I'm having a discussion, and a man posted on the Instagram post that was saying we shouldn't be using it, blah, blah, blah. I said, my first initial comment was, the funniest thing about this is that there are so many more pressing issues that we should address in the black community that actually would be impactful. If all black people stopped saying the N-word right now, what realistically would that do for black people? That wouldn't do nothing for us. It would just please other ethnicities, because other ethnicities use their racism, their white supremacy, the way that they look down on black culture. They use that attitude to question us being able to use a word that they can, because this is one situation where we have to understand where it's something black people have taken so much power in. People aren't used to black people having any power over anything and it being recognized. One of the only things we have power in is, if you use this word around us, we gonna smack you, and most people are gonna be like they had a right to. And I think that's why other ethnicities question why we use the word. It's not necessarily because the word is dipped in racism. They don't care, because the thought processes of a lot of people who don't want to use the word is still dipped in racism, white supremacy, and they look down on us still. I said on the post, I said there are so many more pressing issues that we could be addressing, but we choose this to address and come so strong on when there's so many other issues we could come against that would actually impact the black community if we stopped it. And the person said, no, that's so wrong, because, and it was a good conversation. I like having good conversations on social media. He was like, no, you're wrong, because how we think about each other matters, and blah, blah, blah. And I told him, I said, well, that's where you're wrong, because how we think about each other matters, but that has nothing to do with what we're saying, because actions speak louder than words, and actions tell how you think. I said, you can never, ever call me the N-word, but still look down on me as a black person, because I don't know if you guys know, there are many black people who look down on other black people. It was another post that came out, and it was from Good Times, where Florida was taking Penny to the doctor, and it was a black female doctor. And Penny left the room, and Florida was saying something, and then the black doctor said, I don't even know why I'm telling you this, because if you people did better with your health, and you people did this, and you people did that. And Florida had to ask her, sweetheart, who are you people? You're a black woman. And the lady was like, I mean, you people, I had a chance to work at my father's practice because my father is a doctor, but I chose to come over here and cross the tracks to help you people, but you people don't listen. And Florida said, sweetheart, I understand you come from a different era than we do, but you still a black person. And then it was a lot more into it. It was giving context to a lot of issues, because that leads into another thing that I have an issue with. But before I go there, my biggest thing is regarding that post about the N-word. I think we focus on the what and the who more so than the how and the why, when we should still focus on the what and the who, but the how and the why matters so much. Context, what's behind what's said, what's the reason why we're doing stuff. I see people, I'll give you an example. I see so many people working out now and getting fit and everything, and that's nice. That's the what. They're working out. But the why is what makes it a healthy decision. Because I don't believe a lot of people are getting healthy and getting fit just because it's the right thing to do for them personally. We have a lot of people that love the attention that they get on social media. They love it. And it is an addiction. We have to be realistic about these things. Stuff is so addictive that a person can take that unhealthy want for something and put it into a constructive way where on the outside it looks constructive, but the why of it, you find out, is unhealthy. It's the same thing with everything. We have to look at the why and the how. For instance, I've asked people all the time, when a white person or a Hispanic or an Asian or anybody questions anything that black people do, we need to start finding, are they asking this for a general reason? Or is it more so they're asking a question, but they're trying to throw shade at the culture? It's imperative that we look at this, because this is what is done. This is why people do these things. That inward people, black people. Now, we have black people who already hate black culture, black American culture too. So it's a difference between just black American culture. American black culture is real, and we have to take pride in that, because that's us. But there are black people who do not like black culture, not even because there's not anything wrong with black culture, but because white culture is the primary culture. That's a part of white supremacy. This country is built on white supremacy, and this country is about making whatever's a part of American white culture better than anything else. And American black culture is the bottom of the barrel for most people in America and in the world. So, but they like to take little things from it and try to do it, and that's where the cultural appropriation comes in. But anyway, but what we have to do is start looking at the why people are doing things, and then we look at how they're doing it. Now with that, I said that leads me into my other point. My other point regarding, oh shoot, I lost my train of thought, y'all. My other point, when I was talking about, I wish y'all could talk to me, because I just lost my train of thought. That's why I try to go to it when it come on my mind, but I wanted to finish the how and the why. But it does lead me to, leads me to my other point of people who, I don't like how black culture is blamed for a lot of things that's happening in black culture. And and an example I was given was regarding the Good Times post. So in it, the doctor was saying, if you people ate more healthy, you would be more healthy. And if you went to the doctor more and got this done. And Florida said, well, I'm sorry, sweetheart, but I don't see caviar too much in the hood. I don't see too much. And she was explaining to her, some of the food that we eat, we could do better on, but some of the food we eat, we've been eating it for years, and we've been eating it for years because we don't have no choices. You know what I'm saying? And then it goes into the whole fact that most black people don't have a lot of money. And then the black people that do have a lot of money. Anyway, the how and the reason, the how and the why of why things are in the black community is what I'm trying to say we need to really look at. Because I see so much blame put on the black community. And one thing that irritates me is when black people make it out one certain way, and then because they made it out, they feel like they're saying, see, it ain't about what y'all saying, it's about why the black community is like it is in general. It's because y'all lazy, it's because y'all this, it's because you this, it's because you that. I'm going to give you an example. If I throw a net into the ocean to catch fish, I'm not going to catch every single fish that's in that area or who's in the vicinity of that net. When I pull that net, some of them fish going to fall out, some of them going to escape. That doesn't mean that all the fish could have escaped. Or I give you another example. There are people who have shot themselves in the head and lived. That doesn't mean that if you shoot yourself in your head, you should expect to live. It's about probability. It's about chances. And the thing is if you put any other ethnicity in the same shoes as the black American in this country in the past 500, 600 years, you put any other ethnicity, I'll be honest, and I'll put money against, they probably wouldn't even be able to survive. They probably would not have even survived this long. And it irritates me because I do hold black people accountable. But the problem is that the plight of black people, though we are accountable, the percentage of accountability is not even heavily on black people. You know why I say that? Barack Obama was president of the United States. He was pretty much everything they say we should have been, we should have done, we should have did this. He went to school, got an education, became a lawyer, worked as a senator, did this, did that. When he was in there, he had no scandals. He was faithful to his wife that we know of. There was nothing else going on. And even with him being at that high level, he still was met with so much. He was met with almost more fight than George Bush was met. And that just buys into how I was told even as a child that I didn't even believe. My 100% will equal their 40%. No matter how many I's you dot and T's you cross, there will still be hurdles and challenges that you will have to jump that they would not have to jump if they didn't even dot half the I's and T's you dotted and crossed and T's you crossed. You know what I mean? It irritates me because the plight of Black America is very much rooted in the history of America in general. I was reading, heard a thing about the New York Times Post that was saying American slavery was just not something happened in America. American slavery was planned, and it was a reliable source for America to get established. Racism is a reliable source. And when I say racism, I'm not talking about racial prejudice. I'm talking about the system of racism. It is an ism. A ism is a system. In a system, you have to have a power exchange. And in racism, the power exchange is white people or those of European descent having power over anybody else. And it just so happens it's also like a leveling system. And the people who are at the bottom is American black people. African black people are put over American black people. And it's something that, and the reason why because some people say I'm too detail oriented. The reason why I'm detail oriented is because we generalize so many topics when it comes to the black community when you can't generalize it, because there are so many details that are needed for context regarding first what the situations are, and you need those details in that context so we can see how we will proceed further with fixing those situations. But of course, the main point of this video is first focusing on the how and the why. Not even first focusing on it. I'll just say focus on the how and the why more so than the who and the what. And it's also, that goes into what I'm saying, definitely focus on the how and the why when it comes to the black community if you want to start critiquing the black community, and make sure you're constructively critiquing the black community. Because a lot of you, I'm not even talking about other ethnicities because they're a separate story, but a lot of black people hate being black. They hate being a part of black culture. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's more black people than you imagine. I'm going to be another honest with you. Some of them are the most liberal black people in the world. They hate it. I'm going to be even more honest with you. A lot of them are very much for other people having rights and very, very apologetic for other situations, for other groups of people. But when it comes to black people, they are not as apologetic. Just pay attention to what people say. I was at a job, and I recognized, and I was excited about this job, but I recognized immediately there wasn't that many black people at this job. I get nervous in situations like that. I'll tell you why. Not because I need to be around a lot of black people, because I don't. I'm always unapologetically me, and part of being unapologetically me is being unapologetically black. There are some parts of being unapologetically me that black people even say that I'm not black. For instance, I'm not a ribs person. I don't eat ribs. Apparently, the stereotype is black people love ribs. I'd rather have a link in a burger. That's just me. Black people will look at me crazy. I don't know how to play spades. I don't know how to play spades at all. I don't know how to play cards at all. So black people look at me weird. But anyway, it wasn't that many black people. I was nervous for this reason. Not because of the other ethnicities, because in my experience, when you're in a place where it isn't that many black people, not all of the black people are going to be unapologetically themselves or unapologetically black. And one of the first things they're going to do is try to throw off on another black person to show, because if you're a black person that's unapologetically you and unapologetically black, that black person is going to try to distance themselves from you, and they're going to distance themselves by trying to make it look like you're an ignorant Negro and they're the preferable Negro to other ethnicities. Other ethnicities prefer black people who are not too rich into black culture, who will laugh at their jokes that are racist, who will not even budge when they see cultural appropriation. I'm not one of those black people. You make when other ethnicities make jokes about black people or have critique about black people, I'm very vocal about being careful of what they say and also understanding context, because a lot of them definitely don't know context. The problem is they don't know context because none of them will ever have to experience being black at all. And then when it comes to cultural appropriation, I'm totally not a part of that. So, you know, you have some women who be like, go girl, you know. When a black woman does it, she's ghetto and ratchet. But when a Hispanic or a white woman or an Asian woman does it, they're cool. You know, they're well-rounded, you know. I'm not for that. You know, I just look at them with a straight face. Black people like, oh my God, you're so funny, Francesca. You know, they do that type of stuff. I don't do that. But I got nervous when I was at this job because I know how I am. And I'm a type of person, I'm not trying to start nothing with you. I'm not trying to do nothing. But I'm also not a chump. And I'm also a person where you're not going to defend me, my people, or my culture. You're not. I'm too educated. And when I say I'm too educated, I don't have degrees. I read, I study, I pay attention. And I'm too educated to understand why people do things and what things are for me to allow that to be done. So I got nervous, and I was rightfully so nervous because it was one other black guy. And we actually hit it off pretty good. I was trying to make it a point not to sit right next to him during training because I don't believe in trying to push us all together. You know, they try to push us in one area and everybody be somewhere else. You know, and then the dude, I didn't know him. So I sat where I could, but I ended up sitting next to him. Thought we was cool. We were talking about some things. I noticed all of a sudden that every time I would say something, he would try to be loud and say, what do you mean, blah, blah, blah? You know, do those things. As if he's trying to say how I talk is ignorant or something like that. Or if I said a word, or if I didn't understand a word. Because I'm also not one person that's trying to make it look like I understand every word in the vocabulary. If I don't understand what you're saying, I'm going to ask, what does that mean? I don't know what it means. I'm sorry. But, you know, if it's one of those words that I guess in white culture, I don't know. He would throw off. He would throw off when I make a statement, try to make it look like my statement was stupid. One time he threw off when I overheard him. They were talking about alcohol. And I'm another person that don't try to get in other people's conversations. But he was talking to a Hispanic man that was sitting next to me. And they were talking about addictions, alcohol, or something. And then this black man alluded to the fact, right, because the Black Panthers, that was their problem. They were drug addicts and alcoholics. And I was like, whoa. I spoke up. I said, I don't mean to interrupt, but I said, what you not going to do is down talk the Black Panther Party while I'm sitting here. He's like, no, I'm not down talking. I'm just saying they were alcoholic. I'm like, no. You're not going to do that. You know, you're not going to do that. And it was like he was trying to demean the Black Panthers to show that he wasn't a militant black, something like that. You know, and it's black people like that at these jobs, y'all. I've been at enough jobs now. I think the first job I got working at a place where it was multiple ethnicities and it wasn't as many black folk was when I was in my late 20s. And I'm in my late 30s now. And just about every job I've worked at has been like that since then. And man, you guys would be amazed at some of the things that I've heard, I've seen, the blatancy of it. That's what you would be amazed at. There's so many things that are blatant. Like there are black people who blatantly try to befriend other ethnicities because they like being the only black face in the crowd because they feel like that puts them at a higher status, you know. But anyway, that was my video. I know it's long. I'm sorry. I apologize in advance, but y'all know I have a lot to say at times. I'm thinking about starting a podcast because I do have a lot to say. All right, I'll talk to y'all later. Peace and blessings. Thank y'all for coming in. I also would like to just ask everybody to say a prayer for my mom. She's been sick for a while, and just ask you to say a prayer for my mom. All right, bye.